All right, much love and many blessings. Moving on to Aquarius. Very famous and a lot of talk going on about you during this season. Aquarius channeled wisdom during the Aquarius season, during the age of Aquarius, during this era. There's a lot of buzz. I'm pretty sure that you're feeling yourself during the season as the water bearer, as an air sign that's represented symbolically as the water bearer. Aquarius, you really have a way of smoothing your energy over situations, and as you can see, like that jar that the water bearer carries in all the renditions, the water that's coming out is almost like a liquid form, but it's almost like a cement. It's whatever the substance, whatever the element is within the container is something that hasn't been seen before, which is very fitting to Aquarius because they don't always come with the traditional needs. Like, oh, what is this in this cup? Oh, is that water? No, but it's something that you can relate to. Kind of reminds me of how, like in Lord of the Rings, when Sam and Frodo went off and they had the limbus bread. It's like, what is this? Is it bread? Like, yeah, you can eat it, but it's something that is better than what you're normally used to. So with Aquarius, you get things that are unconventional, but not being conventional or not conforming doesn't necessarily mean bad. Sometimes we need that pioneering energy. We need that intrepid energy to try something new instead of always presenting the things and the elements the same way. We need that Tesla energy without people pushing the boundaries, without people moving past the limited mind. We wouldn't get anywhere. So that fixed nature of Aquarius really helps to present things and look at something that's already existing with a new passion. So for the Aquarius season, for my Aquarius is my, like I said, my fixed air signs. You have a natural ability to detach. Symbolically, you may sometimes be called like an alien, or just you're known for going against the status quo if you deem something necessary. So that requires a detachment. That requires an emotional detachment. The ability to be of the world but not ruled by it. To interconnect with different groups. So there's a part of yourself that can see or relate to everybody in such a way that goes beyond self. That's why it's the 11th house. It's 1, which is self, plus 1, which is another 1 and 11. So you're so much concerned with self that you're actually concerned with the self represented within other people and in the collective. So this pushes you to go into utopian visions, to go into things that bring pleasure, which is why we have the Kama of Kali, because Kamas are a Sanskrit word generally meaning like pleasures or just the enjoyments of life. So with Kali and the Kamas of Kali, we're going to be getting to the source of things that are represented by what Kali brings, by what the Divine Mother brings, by what the chaotic mother brings to fruition, and cutting down those illusions that take away from the true enjoyment of what's eating at you. So sometimes with Aquarius, there can be a tendency to not necessarily be able to emotionally relate to things, or there might be an emotional detachment. And on the negative end, sometimes that ability for you to just run off and do things without the emotional hang-up can be the very things that people may look for that help to guide or to question, like, what made you take those actions? You know, you like having platonic sex, or just things where your average person would get caught up or just get naturally invested. You're able to take part in the action without the emotional connection. So that can sometimes also create confusion for people, which is why sometimes people look at you and might see like, whoa, like what's driving you? What's motivating your actions? So within this season, and really just delving more into it, this is a really, I want to say, auspicious time for you. A time that is bringing in a lightness of new possibilities, which is why we see the 7 of Cups. It's a Queen of Cups and the Page of Cups. Everything that's come out is really just speaking to the emotions and that you've been bottling up and within your own psyche. And it's with the 7 of Cups being here is also showing that these emotions are being triggered by long desired fantasies that you've been sitting on and holding on to for quite some time. Some of it with just the only thing remaining being enthusiasm, which is why the Page of Cups is here. So the Queen of Cups is really suggesting a deepness, a very personal relation to what it is that you want to do next. So while other people might not be understanding your drives, The Queen of Cups is representing that the drive is very deep and very personal and inward. You may be so much so that you haven't even expressed it. So it may not make sense to people, which is why you see the Page of Cups, because you're looking for a much different quality. You're focused on a very small detail in the matter. The Seven of Cups being here is also representing that you need to take your head, maybe do a pan out of the situation, because there's a lot circling, there's a lot of sensations. I want to say there's a lot of sensations active. Sometimes we can step into a space where when we experience an overload of our sensations, we might not actually know how to process it initially. So, especially with this age of Aquarius, let me rephrase that. Especially with the kickoff of the Aquarius season and the full moon in Leo, it brought out a lot of emotions that we may not have been able to make sense of, which is why we see the Seven of Cups. Yes, you're feeling it, but this is a sensation that, what is this? This could go anywhere. And with that also kicking off, I think it's almost like a divine irony or divine humor that this full moon is kicking off to give us this sense of, I want to say safety, but also this new sensation coming from the Mercury retrograde, with these old feelings coming back up to confirm whether or not we really feel the way we think that we feel. So it's some confusion, because you might feel as if on one end equally as strong that matters have been resolved and emotional matters have been laid to rest, but on another end you might feel like, why does it feel like the Hydra is coming back up and something is rearing its ugly head again? So I really want to delve into the karma of Kali and what is being expressed for the Aquarians during this time, and the symbols of the Lotus wisdom. Karma of Kali is completely and utterly in love with your divine essence, and in her love bestows endless gifts. Your path need not be one of endless effort, connecting with pleasure as a path of personal empowerment with an intention to bring spiritual benefit to the collective. There it is, through the collective, through softening and opening your heart, is an act of worship of the divine feminine. Relax into the presence of what is, as you slow your pace and make swifter progress. Kama is a Sanskrit word that refers to the sweet stuff of life, pleasure, and emotional fulfillment, and being completely present so we can experience life through all senses. So it is also sensuality and physicality manifest. Without the quality of Kama, our experience of life can become dry, bleak, and intimidating, a joyless existence with simply more tasks to be completed. And how many times, especially when you have this intrinsic altruism or this altruistic nature about yourself, and feel drawn to complete things externally outside of yourself. So it's almost a natural martyr or self-sacrificing syndrome that you experience throughout your life, and the karmic lessons that you face being ruled or governed by the aspects of the 11th house. So you have to remember, while the lack or the detachment of emotions can allow you to accomplish things that other people would be bogged down or in the slumps, depressed by the stagnation of their emotions, on the polarity or the opposite end, the lack of emotions creates a dry, autonomous robot. Yes, you get so into your subconscious calling that you're just doing this thing, but you may forget yourself in the process. You become a tool rather than enjoy the experience of being able to be used by the divine. Remember, and in your calling, it is equally important to find purpose within yourself as it is to enjoy the purpose of which you're doing. In the throes of a profound and challenging and transformation, we can feel disconnected from our joyfulness. It is though we are keen to the bright days of summer and we are midwinter, wondering why ever it was that we frolicked about in a barely anything when we now feel the need to cover ourselves in the abundant protective layers. This is to be expected during times of intense suffering when we are dealing with an issue that has elicited grief and anger. Yet if we allow our minds to remain open to the possibility of joyfulness and pleasure, they can find their way through like the sun breaking through the clouds to bring us comfort. This oracle can also indicate that not only a more pleasurable way of being as a part of your future, speaking on that future vision, but also an offering of pleasure now. even if you are struggling to ease the strain and make the way easier overall. Assessing pleasure requires embodiment. I'm going to say that again. Assessing pleasure requires embodiment. You can't think this shit. You can't just be like, okay, let me say these affirmations. I need to love myself. I need to love myself. I need to love myself. I need to enjoy myself. I need to enjoy what I'm doing. Are you saying those affirmations, or are you embodying that? Are you saying it because you know you need to do it, or are you feeling it authentically because it's what you truly feel and experience within yourself? Assessing pleasure requires embodiment, a connection with the senses, and a subtle nuance of feeling and beauty. Through embodiment, it is easier to receive healing. It can manifest through the uplifting scent of aromatherapy, the warmth of a shower, the gratitude for a safe and comfortable place to sleep, the sumptuousness of warm clothes or a satisfying meal, the delight of a playful silliness in animals, the nutty sense of humor of a beloved human, a simple appreciation for the flow of breath, or through the openness of being that spontaneously occurs in response to an expansive vista of trees and mountains. Karma is the spiritual practice of presence that leads us into joy, even ecstasy and bliss. It is the juiciness of feeling truly alive. As you take your divine breath, bring awareness into your energy field and the places within your spaces that help you to feel truly alive. Ask yourself, are you doing these things for the sake of something deeper, or is it for feeling something truly personal and deep within your psyche? The Queen of Cups represents that divine feminine and that deep personal connection. Ask yourself, is the thing that you're taking on for another region? The Page of Cups. Yes, it denotes a sensitivity, but it shows that there's still more to learn. And as you're looking at these simple pleasures within your life, are you minimizing them? When really they're actually the most important things for your psyche. Because you put yourself focused on other things, telling yourself that there's other obligations, there's other things that need to manifest, there's other possibilities. But the Seven of Cups also denotes that these things will be there. These things are not rooted in anything that you're concerning yourself with that needs to matter to you. They're just simply there and available to you. So allow yourself to appreciate what work you've been doing, what energy you've been receiving and creating within the world. Because just like that same energy of being a part of the collective means that you're also part of the collective too. You can't separate yourself from the collective by definition. So enjoy the very things that you equally put out into the world. That same motivation that you externalize, flip that mirror around and treat yourself like you're the collective and give that same quality energy to you. What is this benefit that you're receiving that you work so hard to personify out into the world? And what happens when you turn that world and personify it back within yourself? Are you happy? Do you enjoy the vibration, the higher vibration of that collective energy shared collectively through you? Much love and many blessings. Thank you for tuning in and resonating with this message. Drop a comment and let me know how the age of Aquarius and the Aquarius season is shaping up for you and how this message has personally resonated within your space and energy field. Much love and many blessings, and Ashe.